again, good afternoon. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Real Tennis Fans. It's not about Harry Potter, no magic, no broomsticks and bed knocks. You should see Andreen roll her eye the minute you mention magic and not on the dirt. Like, she's like, oh, for these people. And we're here to talk about tennis. If we actually watch any tennis, to be honest. Which is the question we're about to find out. But before I go any further, let me introduce my two co-hostesses with the mostesses. We have Janina from Foreign, Ohio. How are you doing? I'm introducing you first.
Ooh, I feel special.
I actually forgot the order because so long we haven't been doing a podcast. That's really the truth, but you know.
Yeah, I know. I'm not really special, but I'm good. Thank you.
And we have Andreen from Solely Tennis Travel. How are you doing?
I'm good. I really appreciate the alert because I was about to go wandering the streets and then this alert comes up on my phone. Time to chat with Janina and Reels. And I was like, oh shit, we taped the
podcast. You were about to go travel, right? Well, as much as you can.
I was about to go travel as far as they're letting us travel in this country right now, which is up the block and around the corner.
So this has been the longest you've had your feet on the ground in a long time, hasn't it?
It definitely is. I'm really feeling it. I'm feeling like I should go to the airport and wander around and try to
catch some COVID.
I have a friend of mine spoke recently and she had the same issue. And I said, people usually have sea legs, but you probably have land legs by now. I think that's your issue. Like you've been on land for so long. Like,
I know.
You need to be
I'm
up in the sky.
Jonesing to get on a flight just for a random reason. You know, those weird people are like, oh, I need to use some points. Let me just fly up the street and then go. Who
does that?
No, you know what? Like a couple of years ago, before COVID, there was this whole thing about how you can acquire points so that you can reach a certain amount. And so I was reading this points guy and he was like, oh yeah, you can get on a flight, fly to Seattle, maybe get some coffee, come back. I mean, it was like all kinds of weird things just to get points.
Wow.
Aren't you expending energy and time to acquire
money?
But the points are so valuable in certain markets. So, like,
my old boss has not paid for tickets in for so long, because basically I think business miles, business account travels over. He's basically the only person in the company that basically travels for the most part, and all he pays is the tax and whatever else. But I mean, he goes from New York to Mexico on a regular basis, well, pre-COVID, and never bought a ticket yet. Really, technically has not had to when he's visiting his family in Washington. So it is a thing. It really is a valuable thing. But, you know, and people fight for this shit. But I don't know that life. I mean, I'm here wondering about Metro cards, you know, for a month. And they don't take points, no matter how many times you've been on the subway. They want dineros, okay? They want dineros.
Honestly,
in fact,
you've just come up with a brilliant idea. I need them to figure out how to do the point system through the metro system.
Well, actually, no. What they're actually debating right now is if you pay per ride, and which is going to be crazy because New York people city travel very often. I mean, they can, you know, like Paris, London, all those cities workers depend on the subway. It's just crazy to imagine that you can pay per ride. And they've set up an Omni system, which means you can swipe your card, like your credit card, Google Pay and Apple Pay. They're just draining you because it's like almost $3 per single ride. So,
listen, the whole reason why we came up with a monthly pass is to avoid
exactly.
Anywho, yes, this is our life. We're now talking local travel, really local travel, from the bedroom to the bathroom to the.
And here's the crazy thing, you know. Usually, I'm often talking to Andreen and saying, "Girl, Andreen, what's happening in California? Girl, y'all got a flood, a tidal wave. Y'all got everything." Now, California is stable except for the governor, and there's a volcano in my home country, so.
Yeah, I see that you've become really famous on our timeline to chart.
On BBC man. He's not the BBC man I would have preferred, but you know, hey.
Beggars can't be choosers.
Exactly. And we need an opening. So I think, you know, so far, I think there has only been one death, as far
Oh,
as they
good.
know, and that's because the man left the shelter because the government was not prepared. You know,
Shocking.
you know what's crazy? Of all the Bible story everyone keeps trying to preach, they never preach the Joseph one, where Joseph was like, collect food, like prepare for disaster in the future. They
Well,
never.
some Bible study stories are sexier than others, and the dude rounding up food in preparation for a disaster is woefully unsexy.
I mean, so they literally called my mother. The volcano erupted on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
They called my mother Friday night. Do you have eggs? Because my mother, has chicken. I mean, no, mind you, my mother doesn't. She keeps chickens, right? Like for like special occasions, for when people, no local people, when they want to do cakes and whatever. People have a special occasion, they say, like I would like, 15 dozen eggs, having a wedding, whatever. I mean, a global pandemic and also a natural disaster. She doesn't have those eggs, of course. Like, and of course, why wouldn't she keep them for herself first and foremost to feed herself, right? Because this is about to be who knows how food is gonna go. That's when the government is preparing for food for people in the shelters on the day off. It is just freaking crazy. So, the guy left the shelter and went back home, and I think he suffocated under the ash. And
Ooh.
yeah, because the ashes now, they're liking it to like how we experience basically winter storm, snow, vehicles are moving, and it's not really just ash. It's basically broken down rocks and stones from inside the volcano. So it almost feels like hail. And they're afraid that when it gets wet, it might start to solidify and then it start collapsing. A couple of roofs have already, several roofs have collapsed in the quote unquote red zone. My aunt finally left her home. She was holding out, being like, it was like last time because a lot of people who have, I mean, like the volcano erupted what 40 years ago, I think. They remember this thing and they were like, oh, cool, it won't be that bad. But now everything, all indication is that it might be longer than the last time. And she was just like, I was home by myself. There was no one to talk to. So, because the children was just like, Ma, peace out. We're gone. Like, we
As
can't
it should
stay here.
be.
So they took her children and the grandkid left and she decided to come up instead. So they're all there at my mother and my sister's place. They both have separate apartments. So, whew. I mean, I don't know. I feel for my aunt, right? Deciding whether natural disaster or having to go stay there. I mean, sometimes it's kind of dicey, you might have to pick your chances. I mean, trust me. Because my sister right now, she's just like really, really intense because the crazy thing is that several weeks ago, she tried to talk to my mother about preparing for this shit, and my mother was like, forget it. But anyway, to the tennis. Let's try to be light, light on hearted. Ladies, did you watch any tennis? Andre,
No.
fix your face. Since
I
the
have
Australian Open.
I haven't watched any tennis since the Australian Open. True story. I haven't even, I thought I wanted to watch Federer, but I guess I didn't because I didn't even attempt to. We did
Well,
talk
you
a
at
little bit
work. You
before.
had a job.
Yeah, there's that whole little work thing. But, we talked a little bit before about how I don't even know where to watch tennis anymore because I cut the cord. And yeah, if it's not on ESPN, I'm feeling a little bit lost. I tried to watch a stream. I did. And it wasn't working out for me. And I gave up and I never went back to it. And that felt like a year ago.
You see, when there is a major and and tennis is available easily, especially on ESPN, I get, spoiled, where I can lay back on my couch and just flick the channel and move from different courts. But when I gotta go back to my tried and true streaming, it becomes like, what?
Listen, it was really hard. I can't believe that used to be my only source of tennis for a long time, and I used to do it all the time. And I mean,
exactly.
you just did it. Now I'm like, yeah, I ain't doing this shit.
Now I have to try to get one good stream when before I had like many different streams from all the courts. But I did watch Federer. In fact, Federer was so popular, his return was so popular, it literally crashed the streaming website. They were
Yeah,
like
I couldn't get in.
too many streamers. Like
I
y'all
didn't know
about to get us
that. Is
caught.
that?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought it was really shady that Federer returned the same week as Novak passing that weeks at number one, and I didn't care about the weeks at number one thing for Novak because I was like, honey, it's been done
you know
before.
how us Leo
What are
do.
we gonna do?
Like, we prioritize what is the priority. Okay.
Yeah, right. It was
You
super
know.
cute. It was really cute though because I was like, that's so cute. But really, Federer's playing this what 250? Is it 500?
I mean, look, everyone was concerned about Federer's return, right? Everyone was returned.
Listen, Novak was concerned about it too. He just doesn't want to say it out loud.
Well, it was, it was actually, I will say I did watch Federer's matches. I watched also a couple of ladies matches between now and then, between then and now. Federer was like the last dude I was like, ooh, I really want to see you play. Let me check you out. And you know what? He looked really good. He just looked exhausted at the end after.
Oh, did he?
He looked his age.
Oh no!
I don't. No, and I don't mean that but this the craziest thing, right? Because it's Roger Federer, and Roger Federer looking his age at 40, well, gonna be 40, is still incredible tennis. All right, it's not like he looked.
It was still creative tennis. It was still creative,
exactly.
Tennis. That was the thing. It was interesting to look at. Even like I was like, oh, somebody who's trying to do something different with the ball, not just standing back there and hitting it as hard as you can.
But the pandemic has taught a couple of these guys, you know what? Let's not monkey around. Let's take our chances when we get against these big guys. Nole has dropped the ball all last year at the majors. So,
yep.
Let us try to get in. Who knows what would happen? And I think, I forget who he played his first round match against. But the match against Bashishvili, he was sloppy. Federer, he was not tight. But I think he's learning because at the ATP these days, these people are hungry for money now. I mean, who knows if a tournament might be around the next week.
Yeah, so, the person he beat was Dan Evans.
Oh yes.
And then he lost.
And that was actually good. That was actually a really high quality match. Dan Evans can play, but Federer does that old person thing, right? I'm taking notes. Dan. We've been hanging out last week. I'm taking notes. I don't know why, but I would never fuck around and play around with Federer.
You have to play because you're also taking notes.
No, because they're not taking notes, and that's very clear. They never taken notes.
Yeah, we know how Federer rolls. Federer says, "You want to practice with me? If you end up in the draw with him, you're fucked." You're fucked.
And somehow that always seems
especially if
happen,
you're a newbie. Right? Yeah.
Well, for
Federer, and it's always a newbie, and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm practicing with Roger Federer." Like, "Ooh, I pushed him really hard," and Roger Federer's all right. Guess what? There's no money for practice, no prize, no points, nothing.
Yeah. All the while, he's just learning your tricks.
Exactly. Taking notes and copying down. So it was really different. Dan Evans, as much as he's an asshole and a prick and whatever, he could really he's a good player. Unfortunately, I don't think he is. I don't know if he's committed all the way. You know what I mean? And unfortunately,
he seems it at this point in time.
Right.
He seems to be doing the labor post his foray into drug binges, I guess.
Yeah, but it's gonna be but he's not winning the matches he's supposed to be winning.
He won it against Felix, and that's the last time I was upset about a match. But
that's something we'll have to get to at some point. Felix is now with Uncle Toni. So does this mean I have to respect Uncle Toni? I mean, I'm confused.
You know what? I love this. We're doing news roundup. So I think hearing that Felix is going to be trained by Uncle Toni gives me pause because it's like how you
thought it was an April Fool's joke like I did, right?
No, you know what? I did kind of feel a little bit weird like that. It came out of nowhere. But I think what's nice about it is it'll be an opportunity for us to actually see what Toni Nadal does. Like, I give a lot of credit to Rafa and to his team and to his medical doctors and to everyone who makes sure the knee still works. So now you can see Toni with a fresh person, and you can actually say, okay, what have you done to improve this person's game? You know what I mean? Like, this is like a legit opportunity for us to evaluate him as a coach, and not the kind of weird guru odd thing that we fancy him for as part of the Rafa camp. So that's my question for Uncle Toni. Is like, what kind of a coach is Uncle Toni actually going to be?
I mean, Andre, generally, people say, what you just did is a little dig. That's not a dig. That's a saber right out, pulled out of the. I forget. We got me. Pull out this. There is a word for this, and just cut. You just cut Uncle Toni down.
I mean, we know him. He's called Uncle Toni for a reason. Like, his entire association is based on.
That is true. That is a legit point. Nonetheless, you are right. Like, because it's true. Oftentimes, coaches are being made, at least these days, since tennis was invented in 2011. Coaches' success have been made on you have made a player and therefore you're really successful. But can we see how you develop, other athletes? You know what I mean? Like, the credit people give Patrick, and it's like, Serena was talented, well, mega supernova talented. You know what I mean? Before that, so.
I mean, Patrick is a little bit of a Uncle Toni, right? They both are shit talkers. They both have athletes who had the talent before they arrived and took.
Honestly, I don't know if I've ever heard. I've heard Uncle Toni being quoted, but I don't know if I know what his voice sounds like.
Oh, not in terms of just his dirty quotes.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, I mean, I'm curious about that. I don't have any feeling for Uncle Toni either way. I mean, if he's able to get Felix over the slam line, or even a 250 line.
Get him a title. Get him a title. That's what we want. A title.
I mean, any title. I think the funny thing is, give him one
title. Except a Julian Benito title, right? We don't want him to be a bad guy.
Titleless man. It's so strange, though, because even if you give him one title, I still don't even think that's enough, because Felix has been getting to finals. So right. I need more.
I just think it's weird. I just think it's really weird that Uncle Toni is going to coach Felix. Uncle Toni stopped coaching Rafa, not because Rafa wanted to change, but because Uncle Toni didn't want to coach anymore. And now you see this young player. What? I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm nervous for Felix. I feel like he needs to run.
Well, he ran to Uncle Toni.
No. Something's not right. Something's not right.
The thing is that, this is only a pairing, I think, that only happened in a pandemic, right? I mean, had you said this any other time, you'd be like, you're not talking about Felix, or you're not talking about Uncle Toni. You mean someone else, okay? Maybe Tony Serrano.
Well, maybe Uncle Toni sat down after one too many diversity and equity training and said, it is time for me to deliver a black tennis champion, and
I don't trust it.
One who could do it.
Is this a true partnership, or is it just like he's going to be working with him at this upcoming clay tournament? Is he going to start traveling with him or whatever? Is this a test?
Pandemic. I mean, they're not much traveling in this pandemic, right? I mean, traveling can be
but
so
coaches
much more
can travel.
No. I mean, traveling on a whole. I mean, the tour is not as it was before. It's not expansive, like these top players are going to select places.
Let's ask. So explicitly, as a coach, what would you like to see Uncle Toni do for Felix's game?
I mean, I'm not worried about Felix's game. I'm worried about his body.
I mean, that's the silent, deadly thing in the room. What do you mean when you say you're worried about his body?
Well, I mean, he's young. I like Felix's game. He's not particularly a baseliner. He'll come in and try to create things at the net. So I don't want to see Uncle Toni destroy that and try to get him to be a baseline grinder like Rafa, even though Rafa, he is, but he's very good at the net. He just doesn't come in enough. And I'm worried about other things with his body that I shouldn't say out loud.
Okay. Fair enough. Reels?
I mean, there is that there is that. I mean, like, I guess like you, the only thing I've ever seen Toni done, I've seen one project, and it was a group project. So I don't know if, you know.
Did he put in the
Captain
work?
America project? It was a group project. It was like Dr. Erskine.
Was he the slacker?
I mean, or was he the man that kept the team together? You understand what I'm saying? Every group needs that guy, right? That glue. You understand what I'm saying? And I mean, like, since Uncle Toni has been gone, Team Nadal has not been gelling, you know, as before. I mean, there's a pandemic, but I mean, Carlos Moya is not, you know.
I mean, he won another French Open.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Your job on Team Nadal is to ensure that Nadal wins the French Open. That's it. So, like, if anything else is just extra.
So I am worried about, you know, I guess my thing is that am I going to see Felix trying to be Nadal-esque? You know, aggressive and whatever.
Why would anyone sign up for that?
I mean, it's what most of the other men are signing up for, are trying to do. Yeah. And I mean, and so far it has been the thing that has been semi-successful, right? Dominic Thiem has a major.
Well, that was accidental.
Don't you dare. Are you calling Dominic Thiem a fluke?
Love.
Yeah.
Listen to me. Whether this was accidental, whether Serena didn't sleep, whether Serena wasn't feeling herself, people got that fire sale and they have a trophy. And
true. We can't take it away. We cannot take it away.
mean,
Does he get another one? Yeah. I don't
right.
know.
You know, so you do have to, you know. So I'm curious. I mean, like, as for the travel and him stopping, I mean, this is not. I mean, like, I couldn't even dream this. I would have picked some young Spanish dude, you know what I mean? Like Munar.
Yeah, that was really curious that he didn't pick one of the two up and coming Spaniards that seems to be getting everybody excited. But I'm not going to get excited until I care.
I mean, the most far-fetched pick I would have said was Alex de Minaur, because I mean, I think he speaks Spanish. I mean, that would have been like all this thing, like, you know, like, oh.
Well, shit, for all that, he could go work with Sveta.
Felix. Exactly. But, you know, Sveta, I don't think Sveta wants to put in that kind of work anymore. You know what I mean? Sveta's out here trying to.
I mean, Sveta's already cute. What kind of work?
You know what Sveta's trying to do? Sveta's trying to roll her way into a final and catch Serena for a fire sale. That's what
it's a smart move. Listen, it's the best.
Sveta is here for one more glory, okay? Sveta's just like, let me see Serena's on the side of the draw. Then I'm gonna start to work now. I can't catch her. I can't catch her in the early rounds. But
we'll have to just kind of wait and see.
Yes,
I don't know. I think it's really, really weird, and I don't trust it. I don't fucking trust it at all.
All I want him to do is not to break his body and to at least be on a Sunday and take the trophy home. Not the cup, not the plate, the cup. That, you know, I want him to be the champion, because, you know, any more of these, you know, like losing finals is gonna get into his head, because he's there. You know what I mean? And who wants to see PCB winning titles again? And
damn it,
I thought you would want to see that.
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
PCB won a title today, by the way.
Today?
That's what I'm. It's his.
Where at?
In, I don't know, somewhere in Clay. I mean, that could be.
But you know what? This is the other thing. He won a title over Munar.
Yeah.
Munar, which I want to say the movie, but not the movie Munar. And I was thinking Munar is somebody that I thought Toni would.
Isn't that Moana? Oh, you're talking about the Korean American.
Yeah,
film.
the movie. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just like, isn't that?
No, it was Benoit versus PCB.
Yes. I did watch the highlights for that. That was a decent match, you know. The same clay antics, you know, struggle from the baseline and then try to put some drop shots in there. But who knows? I mean, but you know, Uncle Toni isn't going into it.
Yeah, Andalusia region.
Okay.
Which is exactly what you want. I mean, this is exactly where we're starting, honey. It's April, it's clay, and it's Spaniards.
This is usually the time that I check out of tennis, and y'all are asking me to check back in.
You already checked out of tennis, so we're just asking you to check in a little earlier, because French Open is gonna.
And then they're gonna cut some of my beloved grass out. I mean, what is happening?
Okay, let's give some context to that. First, Reels, finish up on the final and what you thought of the final, and then let's go into this savagery by
well, I mean it's clay. It's like it's two Spanish boys playing clay. I mean, like, it's interesting for Spain.
It wasn't interesting for you. My timeline seemed very happy.
I mean,
I wish y'all could see his face.
Give us the tea, Reels. Give us the tea.
let me put on my glasses so I can see it clearly. So there is this weird, I don't know what it is. I don't know which spirit it is. I don't know if it was there before the pandemic, but I'm going to assume that with the pandemic, people got too much idle time on their hands. Mm-hmm. But tennis does this thing where it's just like, you gotta love this person. You know what I mean? They keep forcing people onto us and they create this like, this isn't Care Bears, okay? This isn't Lifetime. This isn't Family Channel. Like, it is sport. We can choose to like who we want to like. Once, so long as it's not anything, we're not creating this on racist or sexist or problematic reasons. If I don't like something, I don't like it, and it's okay. But you know, they keep forcing things onto me. I mean, I'm supposed to like BB, whatever her name is. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, wait, you're jumping.
But just in general. That's just like
I'm
part
so
of the
confused right now.
I know. Reels jumped all the way from
No, wait. Let me finish. So it comes along those kinds of lines. It's like the body party. You know, you gotta love BB. And there comes the Spanish boy to say, oh my God, I'm so happy for PCB. And it's like this long lost, like, you know, long suffering journeyman and all this kind of story, whatever. These players are playing every goddamn week. They all ain't interested in these people until they show up in a final. And I'm so happy for him. And I'm like, oh my God, stop with the Care Bear nonsense. It's not that serious. Let his fans celebrate and then just move along. Wait till your faves come along and then go ahead. Enjoy your day. But all this kind of like sake of love and think, oh my God, and then the bullshit stats. This is the first time someone has won a title since last week. Isn't this amazing? Oh my God. And it's like serious. Oh my God, like seriously, people. Tennis has been around for 100 fucking years. And generally the rules has not changed. It's been basically the same way forever, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't add double bunks this time around. Like, calm down, people. There is a whole lot of shit happening in the world. Like, we don't need extra stats about the fact that somebody won a title. It's how it's done. Every week you play a tournament, go through the rounds, you're in the finals, you win. That's it. It's the first time she won a title being down a set in 3 tournaments. It is the first time she won a tournament in 10 days. It's the first time he has won a tournament and he was facing a break point in the first game. And oh my God, this is so exciting. Look at this. And then they're going to tell you, his rate conversion is the best, which makes him the best player since last week. Yeah, because he won the title. So therefore, he is the best player since last week.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Mr. Reels. That was highly entertaining.
And these amateur sports center people, like, oh my God, like, we don't need all this shit. Just enjoy the tennis.
Listen, I don't understand why you're so upset. This is a whole industry you've got to spin out of it. Like, you need numbers. You don't understand.
No, the only number I need is you won 2, get 2 cents to 1. That's it. That's it.
You know what? You know what's funny though? True story. This is so true. If that was Federer, he'd be like, this motherfucker was down. For love in the set, and he came back, and he hasn't been able to do that since 1992.
No. I mean, but
he would love it. He would love it.
Actually, you're lying on me. I would never do that. No, I would never be.
But I will say that's probably me. But you know what? The context would matter because listen, I'm not going to say it happened last week. I'm going to say, listen, it's been 20 years since this man.
Yes. Okay. I mean, listen, but I mean, in all fairness, it's not just because this is the Roger Federer of Tennis podcast and this is Roger Federer's, secret seed money podcast. We're just waiting on the seed to come in, but that check is gonna come in any day now from Roger. Any day. But I mean, you're right. Context about that matters because I mean, people forget Roger Federer is past Roger and Serena are past this generation.
I know. Listen, when
they
you tell
twice
people
over.
they're not even part of any of the generation that's still
Generations
playing.
currently, exactly. All their colleagues are now having babies, which some of them are still having babies right now, commentating and opening schools. I mean, seriously. Like, you should see some of the players that they've played with, and they're just like, I don't know.
I think Serena's only colleague is what
Venus,
and potentially your Svetlana, right? That's like
no, Sveta came afterwards.
Well,
not far, not
that far,
but
not far off yet. But
I don't know how old she is.
Yeah, but like everyone, Dementieva, all of them, they're gone.
They're gone. Panetta, all those people are gone. Yeah. So
yeah, I know.
So
I know. I think I do understand though. The quantification of things is just over.
Sveta's older than Serena. She's 41.
Is she?
Yep.
That can't be right, Janina.
Hey, that's what Google says, okay? Oh, wait, wrong Svetlana. Sorry.
Okay, I know that. Look at you.
Thank you.
She's 35.
Your reliance on numbers fool you again.
Better dump her. Said I know you're listening. Dump this bitch. Dump this bitch. You got it confused with Hawkina.
I just aged her a little bit. Just a little bit.
But I mean, I think so. That's fair. I've been catching a little bit of the storylines that were emerging. So yeah, PCB. But you know what it is? It's also nostalgia. Tremendous nostalgia factor for these guys who are, in many ways, were non-starters because everybody else stole the titles from them. So with this quiet period, PCB becomes your star, who you should continue to celebrate, Reels, because you are a PCB.
I mean, yes, but I mean, like, we're not appreciating PCB for personality. And that's the thing that I'm getting upset with most of the time. You're trying to sell me a bag of goods, and these people are dead in the water. They're not interested. Their tennis might be cute. They might be cute in and of themselves. But they don't bring any joie de vivre to the press conferences. They don't bring any sort of interesting thing on the TikToks. No, nothing. I mean, you know who got time for TikTok? Wait. You know who got interesting personalities? The people who not winning titles. Because they got time on their hands.
I mean, I think at some point in time, we're going to have to talk about the fact that in order for you to win a title on the tennis tour, you have to lose all the interesting things about you, at least on the men's side. I think on the men's side, for sure.
I mean, that's true. I mean, come on now. Like, most of these men, it's top men. Could you imagine Dominic team in a party? Sasha? CC5? Nadal?
I think Sasha's fun at a party. He might be doing some shady shit in the back, but
I mean, Sasha's gonna blind somebody trying to dance at a party. He needs to sit in a corner and sip something. Because,
no, he's gonna be fun.
Okay, leave these boys alone. Okay, so but let's go into the next big news of the week, which was Roland Garros. Roland Garros has decided that because of its own financial challenges, it is desperately in need of constantly doing a slam every year. And so it has moved its slam back a week, which now means we no longer have that 2-week break between Wimbledon and Roland Garros, which folks fought for years.
Or 3 weeks. Was it 3 weeks? Wasn't it 3 weeks?
I mean, substantial week enough. I think it was something like that. It translated into something. There was actually a nice chunk of time between Roland Garros and Wimbledon so that you can have a minor grass season, which we apparently don't care about. And Roland Garros now has pushed back. You know, the thing again that struck me is how, again, everyone was surprised about Roland Garros pushback. The tournaments that were happening that week, shocked. The players announcing that they found out about it on Twitter. What is with this communication?
What about Alizé Cornet going on TV and going, "Keep this just between us"?
She did that.
And then what did she say?
Yes, she did.
And then
she started dogging the French Federation.
Well, I mean,
and the government. But she's like, just keep this just between us.
And the two people watching this TV show said, but like,
I mean, in all fairness, you know, let me not drag the WTA. I mean, like, where are they playing now? Maybe that's what she thought. That, you know, that no one knows.
No. Well, we won't even have to drag anyone. But honestly, though, it's been a year. The least you could do is work on your communications. The least, at the very least, Don't you
send out a WhatsApp message, people. Come on.
I mean, don't you do like a bulletin message? Like,
Well, you got to click the link.
Like, not even to click the link, just a bulletin message. And then guess what? A couple quotes from players acknowledging how excited they are about the move. But no, the players have to be like, wait, there's a move? What?
I mean, she found out on TV. Alizé Cornet found out on TV while being interviewed. That's how she found out. And she was like, wait, what? Oh my gosh. She didn't know.
That's a messaging problem.
That's a huge messaging problem.
That's just a messy problem.
That's lazy.
And here's the thing, Roland Garros. I mean, the only thing they have going for itself is probably the money, right? That players are gonna show up because they want that money. The money is substantial, considering that Miami downgraded to a challenger level. I mean, did you see that check? I swear to God, they got a key lime pie and a bag of popcorn and a cup.
Listen, as long as somebody paid somebody, listen, we got to do what we can. Take what you can get.
I was like, so I promised I would tell everyone. So when the Miami draw was coming out, right, and everyone was dropping out, Maya, our good friend Maya, was just like, Reels, you should sign up. You get to the third round. Who is there? Nobody's there.
Some shade right there. You all are.
No, who is here? And I don't even remember who won the men's finals. Who was in the final?
I don't even know who played.
No, come on now. It was everybody.
Seriously.
No, it was the Polish player that everybody loves.
Oh yes, Hubert Hurkacz, and I did watch that match. That is true. Yep.
You watched it and you didn't even know who won?
I forgot.
It was forgettable in his mind, I guess. I mean, it's not Jerzy Janovic, so he didn't care.
I mean, Jerzy Janovic is playing Call of Duty 7 right now. He's not any tennis tournament.
I love it though. I think it was nice.
I did watch Karatsev win Dubai as well. So I think
it was really good that, he did so well. People have put so many things in his capper. You know how hard it is to find men on tour for people to stand. So I think he's a feminist fave.
Oh, is it because of his legs? I mean, how he stands, the way he stands. I mean,
I think it's because he seems harmless. Not likely to do anything egregious, problematic. And obviously following in the Aga Radwanska tradition of men being inspired by women, which is so rare that when they acknowledge it out loud, we must celebrate them because men being inspired by women. Oh, the Murray feminism,
Murray School of Feminism, acknowledging women do exist and keeping all the glory. It's huge. Women are hair people and women are people.
And not only are they women doing things, they are not your parents or your sister. So
exactly.
But he seems like, but you know what? I wouldn't have called him to come through there because he was down. See, here's a stat. He was almost on the losing.
See what I'm talking about?
Oh shit!
Yeah, that's the context.
The match is never just the match.
I don't mind that context because he was on the way out, possibly in the first couple rounds, and there he ends up with the title.
Well, good for him.
What kind of thing is that?
I mean, I'm out here dragging them and saying some shit about, like they got a key lime pie, a bag of popcorn, and a cup, but they got 1,000 points. They got 1,000 real points
with a that would have gotten it at 250.
He would have to take a whole year to get 1,000 points. Okay,
listen, not mad at it.
But he got out in one place for 1 or 2 weeks, so he's happy with that. So he's up. But I did watch the women's final. BB decided that the body party was.
She gonna quit.
I mean, ain't what she does all the time. It's what she's so on brand. It was so
honestly though, can I tell you? I thought it was amazing because I was watching it and I was like, you know what? This is the best thing about Ash Barty. Now, this is me celebrating Ash Barty because I know she's, a challenging number one for people. I don't know why. It's like the same thing always. Can you defend yourself? You can't ask those questions of Barty because guess what? She has a slam. She has a number count that rivals Nole, so we can't challenge that because y'all love it on the ATP side, so you can't be given shade on the WTA side when the point totals are double for the number one versus number two. And number 3, the thing about Ashley Barty that makes me not so much a lover of her game, but she was perfect foil for BB. She was entirely unbothered. Whatever was going on over on the other side with BB, she was in her own head. She stayed ready at every moment in time. And she just, my sense of it is that if BB felt like she was playing someone who she could ruffle, I think she would have played through the pain.
Yep. Yeah.
Because she's done it. She did it from the round where she had a groin injury 2 matches prior. So
what's her injury? It was the groin.
I think this time around
that caused her to
it was her foot. I think it was. I think they said it was something with her foot, if I'm not mistaken.
She's always got a fucking injury.
Somebody could correct me on that. But I mean, my sense of BB is like, if she feels like there is an opportunity for her to grind her way through the match and actually come out on top, I think she'll do it. But I really thought that Barty closed down all the doors in that match.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
She didn't give her any nervy outs. Because what do we know that happens with BB is the person will lose a match to BB from a winning position. Barty didn't look like she was in the mood to have that kind of an.
She said, "Not today, Satan.
Not today." And she's
Not
like,
today.
"None of the dramatics over there is gonna work."
So I was trying to figure out why I'm not a big fan of BB.
Ooh, why? Tell us.
She is the reincarnation of Jennifer Capriati.
Oh shit!
That whole spirit. I feel a spirit of Jennifer Capriati emanating from BB.
No,
oh, man.
And I can't take an ounce of it.
Spirit?
Nothing. None of it. I don't care who's BB's playing across the net. I'm going back the other person. I don't care who it is.
Jennifer Capriati was so bad for you that this is what it did for you.
and let me tell you something. My girl Venus Williams always understood the assignment and handled Jennifer Capriati. Is you Serena stands that guy Jennifer Capriati keeping you up at night? Not my girl Venus.
Is she still wearing that thing on her arm?
Ooh.
Andrescu.
Oh, I don't know. But I'm sure Jennifer Capriati was at the Capitol. I mean, like, I'm going to call the FBI when we're finished right now and tell them, go look for Jennifer Capriati. If she can provide her whereabouts on January 6th, I assure you she was at the Capitol. She was there. No doubt about it. But
wow.
So, speaking about number one, the men's...
Wait. Did we give Janina a moment enough to be aggrieved about the movement of the French? Sorry, Janina. I know that was...
well, I mean...
She doesn't even check out the French anyway.
Right. So I'm not too bothered by it. Other than... I don't know. It's not going to be over sooner.
But
and also, I don't even know what realistically. I mean, they postponed it by a week because
1 week.
1 week because of the ongoing pandemic in the country itself. It's not going well.
I don't know what they think a week is going to do.
They have a lot of issues. I mean, Europe has a lot of issues because
What's specific? I mean, I hate to say this but I know you've been tracking it more than we have, Reels. What's going on in France? Like, what's their challenge?
Well, first and foremost, because I think the Biden administration and the British administration, while they look like they were fumbling the ball, I mean, smart people in the behind the scenes were getting the vaccine and securing the vaccine over here, and most of the American vaccines, we have the Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, Pfizer, we had options, but AstraZeneca was the one that was touted in Oxford. AstraZeneca, that's the part people leave out. The Oxford.
The Oxford one. I know. I love how everybody's blaming AstraZeneca. Add in the Oxford in there.
Exactly. So there was that. And so Oxford AstraZeneca did not deliver a numbers on the promised samples that they were given. And then it cropped up that there's a potential side effect of this blood clot. They were having issues figuring out whether or not it was actually related to they're not actually concluded that it is the vaccine, because blood clots do occur randomly in the general population.
And also the numbers are really small.
Right, yeah, the
numbers
is basically...
Well, the issue is not that it's a blood clot, it's the type of blood clot that's happening. It's one that's not seen. Very often it's rare. And it isn't happening a lot at all. It was only like 4 people, but it's pretty fatal. Blood clots aren't necessarily fatal if treated and found, but this isn't looking like that.
Right. So people are basically they're having to weigh the option because COVID can give you blood clots. And I
Mhm.
think the occurrence that they have noticed, it's been probably about 4 people may have died. I'm not sure, but I think the numbers that they're having is like 1 in 600 and something thousand.
Yeah,
That's
it's
where they have
very
like
small.
yeah, occurrence of this.
So it's not a whole lot of people, but it's happening, and it's even though it's a very small piece of the population,
Hmm.
the outcome is basically deadly. So, but it's not happening frequently enough to say we shouldn't use this vaccine, because the truth is there's always a risk with
Yeah.
anything you put in your body. So you have to decide if um the reward outweighs the risk. And in this case, probably yes.
Yeah, and I think the
Yeah,
thing
but
with the French though, I apparently also is that this is really about it's about spectators. That's why they've pushed it back a week, is because they want to maximize their capacity to have spectators, because again
I
this is
don't
the financial constraints for this tournament.
But
Again,
what
I'm like,
really happens in a week? What do you achieve in 1 week? When we're talking about, I mean, if this is truly COVID related, right? Even if you think I'm going to get more people vaccinated in a week, those people that got vaccinated a week before the French Open starts really shouldn't still be at the French Open. They need to have 2 full weeks. I don't understand why 1 week. This just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I don't get it. It seems
I think you're thinking of it like particularly on the day. I think they believe that in a week's time with an extra time they can sell it better. That perhaps they
can
can
sell
get,
what better.
the
well,
safety of the
the
tournament.
safety of the tournament, and also perhaps that things might quiet down. But the thing about it is French people protest for everything. And French
But
people are annoyed. There's a lot of internal issues that are happening within France because every other week Paris is on lockdown.
But
So
what are they going to sell in a week? If you don't already have your marketing in place, it's not going to get any better by pushing your tournament back for a week. You should already know what you're going to do to try to get people there during this crazy time anyways. I honestly don't think that anything of substance comes from moving it 1 week. Tell me that you're going to move it 3 weeks. Tell me that you're going to move it a month. 1 week? What are you going to accomplish in 1 week? I don't buy that. I don't get it at all.
I
I
think
think it
they're
seems
trying to work
silly.
on the problem now. They're trying to work on the problem now until then. So give them, because here's the thing. I think there are many things that are happening behind the scenes which I think we're not considering. That one, the French Open could be played someplace else, like
I know,
outside
and
of
I don't
France.
know why we haven't offered that up as an option, because it's really
And I
about the
think they're afraid
location.
of that, as Andrine pointed out, in terms of they're trying to get people to be there, like spectators, because they have sunk a lot of money into repairing this event, and now they owe their backers. Apparently, they haven't refinanced or figured out how to do any of that in the pandemic. I think they borrowed. It was a bad investment altogether. They should have just fixed the shit that was there. I don't know what was the circumstances why they felt they had to do over a major rehaul. And I mean, if one dude is winning the tournament for like bazillion years, it's not really
I
bringing
mean,
that
I
much
think they should just
excitement.
ask the Spanish government for investments.
I
It's what
mean,
keeps the, like, I mean, like, say to yourself,
Rafa got
the
money. Rafa
single
got real
winner
money.
is
Rafa got
always going to be a
monopoly
Spanish
money.
guy. It's Rafa's tournament. I
I,
say
Support us.
basically
I
brand the
mean,
tournament Rafa's tournament. It's Rafa Slam. Call it the Rafa Slam, and sell spots and TV spots for Spanish folks, and push that out. Like, I think
and I
to
mean,
me, this is,
they're going to put a Rafa statue there, so you might as well let him invest in that.
I
That's how
mean,
universities
start
do it, right?
start
I
early.
mean,
I
like
mean, and
you want to.
I don't, I don't say this to be facetious, but I mean, I really, to your point, Janina, I'm just like, what is the financial model for a tournament when you are banking on spectators during the middle of a pandemic? Like, the Australian Open showed you what was possible, and they weren't even going for full capacity. So what's the lesson that Roland Garros learning from this? Like, it just confuses me.
Well,
And
if they
you're also endangering other tournaments. Like, that's my biggest problem with the move that Roland Garros makes, is that it feels like it needs to secure. They're like, this is one of the signature events of the entire tour, and our success leads to success for other tournaments. Except you keep pilfering time away from other tournaments. Now you have to worry about what's going on with the tournaments in Germany. And now it's like, and then God knows, you might just decide to mess with the US Open schedule again. Like, it's like, this is not a tournament that plays nicely with others. And I don't really understand why we're so precious with this tournament. Every other tournament have had to change some aspect. Why is the French considered a tournament that has to happen? Like, why wasn't there a calculation made that said, you know what? Wimbledon didn't happen last year. Let's make a priority that Wimbledon happens this year because the French happened last year. Like, why endanger all of them? Because it feels to me, if you do the French, you have to make a choice between Wimbledon and French.
That's what I was just going to say, because Wimbledon's not moving. So the French is going to open or finish and Wimbledon is going to open 2 weeks later to the day. So are you really going to play 2 Grand Slams back to back? Are you going to not play a grass warm-up like you might normally do after Roland Garros to get to Wimbledon? Because it physically, unless you're Novak Djokovic and can play, for 24/7 and not get tired, who's going to play Roland Garros, potentially win, play a grass warm-up event, and then go to Wimbledon and play an intense another 2 weeks of a tournament? Who's going to do that? You're going to... Yeah.
And then, but also even the fans, even like, and then also the vaccine situation. Like, how are you ensuring safety within that tight turnaround? Like, it's just a weird setup to
There's no time to quarantine if somebody gets sick.
I think those things have been out of the way for several weeks, for several months now. We have not spoken about quarantining, and I don't know whether athletes, I think there was some talk of at Charleston vaccine was being offered to players.
Yeah, we're offering the vaccine, which, by the way, I have a problem with politically. The idea that you secure vaccines for these athletes, but we know that we haven't been able to secure vaccines.
Oh, I wasn't aware of this. Let's talk about this. Wait, what the fuck?
Yeah. So
they're offering vaccines to the players at the tournament, first of all, which is just, that's crazy. Are we to any player, American players, or what? Because honestly, I can't even sign a patient up to get a vaccine outside of the county that they live in. So we're offering international people a vaccine. This healthy, super ultra healthy population is being offered a vaccine, and people can't. 80-year-old people still are having trouble getting it. Wait, this is happening?
All players of the tournament were given the option, including some members of their team, were given the option of getting the vaccine, which was, I think, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which is the one shot.
Where did this vaccine come from?
It's an interesting incentive.
Who paid for it? Who bought this? Who's administering this? I want to know all of this. That's mind-blowing. That is mind-blowing.
There's a man called on the radio this week, right? He lives in New Jersey, but drives an Uber in New York City. New Jersey told him, you are New York's problem because you don't work in New Jersey. New York told him, you don't live in New York, therefore you can't get the vaccine. Even though technically across the board as a taxi driver, because of the exposure to so many people, you are eligible for the vaccine. So, Janina, you are asking all of the right questions about that there are a sizable population. We have in a rollout here issues within this country about getting people getting access to the vaccine. It isn't so much so, unless you're a white Republican man, most people are not, are not rejecting the vaccine. They just don't have access to the vaccine. And then players show up in tournaments and be like, hey, yeah, we have some free vaccine for you to take. Hey, come in and get it.
This is the thing. So this is the quote that came from the VP of Communications of the WTA. According to this, it says, with the state of South Carolina opening up vaccine eligibility on March 31st to everyone over the age of 16. So these aren't folks that are theoretically jumping the line. To anyone that desires to be vaccinated, the WTA and the Volvo Open were provided the opportunity to secure a vaccine while remaining respectful to the priority of
That's not how it
bullshit.
Bullshit. That is bullshit.
That's bullshit.
That's bullshit. Because even though it's open
Ohio,
to 16 years and older, you have to be in the state. You have to come. You have to show proof that you're from the state, because they're having this issue because of like migrant workers and also people. They have to show some sort of job letter or something to show that they reside in the state. In fact, when I went for my vaccine, I had to show that I live within a specific zip code.
I have to show that I live in a certain county. So I live in a place called Lorain County. Cleveland is Cuyahoga County. My patient base comes from a lot of both counties. I have to know where they live, what county they live in order to get them registered for a COVID vaccine. If I take a Cuyahoga County patient and try to register them within Lorain County, once you get so far into the registration process, you automatically get booted out, because those vaccines are reserved for the people who live there, period. Well, and they can't even get them.
So listen, I mean, we understand that hosting a tournament is perceived as a valuable commodity for the local economy, right? And so this is something that is like in cooperation with the Faux Open and Plantation Pharmacy, a local drugstore.
There is a pharmacy called Plantation Pharmacy. Tell me you read that wrong, Andre.
There are lots of things going on.
Tell me it's some Platanos pharmacy.
Listen, this is, but listen, I to your point, all of those things are really fair. But at the time, when I heard about that, I was like, okay, well, that makes sense, because you're bringing in theoretically people who could cause problems in the region locally, right? Like you're bringing in folks who've traveled, who could potentially set you down a path that you don't want to go as a country, because that's what's been happening. And so offering them the access to the vaccine is a nice safety protocol.
It is a nice safety protocol if you're offering it to every single person that comes through your tournament turnstile.
I mean, yes, you can, but in the end, that's exactly what they did, because remember, they couldn't have crowds there. So they offered it to anyone who was on the facility, which is basically, it defrays what damage could protect. I mean, I assume what people did a calculation, which is like,
but you know what? It's
South
bullshit.
Carolina is treating the vaccine as if it gives immediate relief.
Right.
Once you take the vaccine, immediately, boom. Therefore, you can no longer get COVID.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. And also, I mean, these people don't have to show any proof of residency for anywhere, because we know they don't even. How many?
Yeah, I don't like it.
I mean, obviously, this isn't connected to residency. It's connected to you being in a space that could potentially suffer from an outbreak.
Listen, in theory,
distribution in this country has been linked to residency.
But I'm just saying,
in theory, it's nice.
It doesn't.
In theory, it's nice.
It doesn't have to be. That is true. But to our point is that you're offering this to people within this tournament who's showing up here, whatever the case may be. And you haven't made a way this easy access for people within your own state.
And that's the problem.
I mean, that's the problem, but that's an outsized problem that has nothing to do with the WTA, right? Like, this is a decision that the city, in cooperation with WTA.
Oh, I don't care whose problem it is. It's just not a good look. You don't offer professional athletes who are super healthy a vaccine. International also a vaccine that the general population is having a hard time getting. It's just not a good look. I mean, if we had vaccines for everybody, then you know what? Give it to everybody. Give it to every single person everywhere they go. Have people on the damn street corners going, you want a vaccine? I got them over here. But we don't have enough. We don't have enough. And the whole point of a rollout was to look at the most vulnerable populations first and work backwards. Elite athletes are nowhere. I mean, they're not the most vulnerable, but they're definitely potential carriers, right? Because they are traveling.
Yeah, everyone is.
Yeah, I mean, yes, everyone is, but if you perceive,
well, they're all over the damn place.
Yeah, if you perceive people are not moving around as much, then an athlete moving from country to country is actually a risk. And if you want your tournament to continue, I could see why you would offer that up.
Because and this is a good segue into the fact that, you know, that again, the ATP players, we heard them most vocally, you know, John Isner and friends, are asking for rules and regulation to be disbanded for their benefit because they're tennis players. So they want to move freely within countries. They want to be anti-vaxxers. They want to go anywhere they want.
This is a nice solution, right?
Because,
Isn't this a solution?
But they're
in contrast to that? That's fine. Listen, I think we all have to, I think, first of all, I think we have to calm down around the anti-vaxxer language, because what we're recognizing is there's a lot of vaccine hesitancy for a lot of reasons. These are global athletes. Lots of different things are being told in different communication channels across different countries, right? We can speak fairly comfortably about John Isner because we see him, we understand what he's about. But I think with some of these other players, we don't understand what that dynamic is. There's a lot of disinformation about vaccines out there. And so rather than sort of like paint everybody with this broad brush, I think we have to be really careful, because also people are moderating their own expectations of when they're going to be able to get the vaccine based on what's possible within their own countries. So I think people are assuming a certain kind of hesitancy about, like, I don't know if I'm going to get the vaccine or when I'm going to get the vaccine. And like, this person doesn't want the vaccine. It's not first come, first serve yet in lots of countries.
I just find it really interesting that people are so concerned and worried that, it might be required, as though that's a new thing.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of education around that, right? I mean, I think the question of, like, I've just been really thinking about this, and it's like we take a lot of things for granted when we enter certain systems, right? And we've often had to demonstrate that we've had the needle. I think I just read a study or research that said that people didn't know the shots
were actual shots.
And vaccines, like that shots.
Vaccines
when you heard
injections.
Yeah, but
you've traveled.
When you heard shots back in the day that kids had to demonstrate they had shots, they didn't recognize that those were vaccines. Like, talk about that. Like, that's a weird and strange misunderstanding, right?
But Andreen, you've traveled all over the world. Yeah. All over. How many times have you been told you don't get to come to this country if you don't have a certain vaccination?
Yeah, I mean,
this isn't school. You couldn't even go to college, for sure.
But for schools, for sure. But I think what I think is interesting about this on a lot of different levels, and I take to your point, Janina, for sure. Like, there are lots of things at play. First, I'm just curious about the tier that tennis players have existed on that allows them to move from country to country. What has been their permissions that have been granted to them? Because
are there any at all? Are there any at all?
Right? That's right. I mean, to me, because like visa applications was a big thing. Remember when Sveta forgot a visa application or something like that? Usually with vaccines and things, it's basically connected to your visa, right? If it's a country that requires a visa, you usually have to demonstrate that you've gotten certain kinds of shots based on some things, right?
So tell us a country that you've been to that you can say, this happened. Like, I don't know anywhere that where tennis is being played.
When I was going to the Gambia, I had to. Usually for me, it was African countries. Any country that required me to have a visa, which were African countries and Asia, that was like when I had to demonstrate some kind of eligibility to enter that country.
As far as vaccination?
As far as vaccination, or as far as any kind of proof of something within any kind of real detail. But to be honest, traveling under an American passport gives you a lot more freedom. So that's something that's potentially a bias that people never understood, that your American passport allows you entry into places that other people's passport didn't, without real proof of like shots. So like with an American passport, going to Asia and going to the African continent was a challenge. But going to Europe, you just go.
Well, but we know that there's quite a bit of tennis played in Asia.
Yeah,
it is an international sport. We have athletes from all over the world going there. Yep. And I'm curious to know, because I feel like it wouldn't be, I don't think you would be forgiven. I don't think you would get a pass just because you're an athlete and you're, I don't know. I would be interested hold on. I would be interested to know if anybody knows, okay, you're a tennis player from Yugoslavia, say, I don't know. Do you not have to show that you've gotten a certain vaccine? Whereas myself, if I were just an average Joe who wanted to go visit Japan, do I have to show something? Do they get a pass? Do they get an excuse? Are they excused from something? And if they are not, and I feel like they're not, I don't feel like anybody would be, but if they're not and they have to do this, then why is this such a big deal? And why is it different? And I think that the reason is because it's been so politicized instead of just being, this is a protection. This is no different from getting your polio shot or your MMR, your measles, mumps, rubella. You know, if you step on a nasty nail and you go to the ER and they pull a rusty nail out of your foot, you're getting a tetanus shot if you haven't had one in 10 years. You don't question it. You just get it. Most people don't even know what tetanus is. They don't know what happens to you if you get it. But you'll take that damn shot. Nobody questions it. I don't understand this.
Well, I mean, again, I think, well, first of all, Janina, before people will come for us, that Yugoslavia doesn't exist as it was before. But
it's
Croatia,
I had to
Slovenia,
pick a country, any
Macedonia,
country.
Bosnia, Herzegovina, and the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. It's all part. No, actually, no. It's Montenegro.
But you know what?
Exactly.
He knows he needs to tell you because
I know
they produce the players, so you know
exactly. Kosovo. So that anyway, I probably someone would get us all the way together. You know who will get us all the way together in no time. But I would say, I mean, one thing I've definitely noticed, and it's really crazy, in dealing with a volcano in my former country, I would say that I've been to this country like twice before visiting before I moved here. And when I moved here to get residency, I had to show every single shot I've ever taken in my life. I had to show that. I had to have a medical, and also I had to get booster shots and whatever the case may be. I had to do that when I went to college here. So it's always, in fact, I don't know how many one of these people who played college sports, whatever. But I think part of the thing that we have definitely noticed during this pandemic and during a lot of things that is going on with it's messaging, it's information, and how important and crucial this is. And also who is bringing this information determines whether or not you're going to pay attention to this information. People's WhatsApp group is having far more credence than the doctor on the thing. And what I think is almost hilarious is that people are going to be like, oh, I don't trust the scientists, but they're going to use some kind of scientific information to say the vaccine has been shown to do all of these things. Really, a scientist did that. A scientist would have had to have been doing that research. You know what I mean?
And not only that, but, you know, people are like, oh, this is new. This is new. It's new, but the flu shot that you take every year is new as well. It's developed in under a year every year.
I don't even know
the research. Anymore. Well, but this is a valid concern that people have. But the problem is they don't take the time to educate themselves. The research itself is not new. The vaccine is new. You know, oh, this is an mRNA vaccine and I don't know what that is. Okay, that's fine that you don't know what that is, but this isn't new. The research has been in place for a long, long time. This is just the first time that we have used it and put it into play, but there's always going to be a first time. But I just truly wish that people understood, you know, when you get your flu shot, every single year, it's different. It is, in fact, new. It truly is. It's based on what
but it's building on a tradition, right? And I think that's the assumption is like, there's no new orientation that has to happen. There's no new science. There's no new formulation in their minds. It's building off of a tradition that makes sense to them. Now, you're right. That's very much the case in terms of this vaccine. It's building off of established research. But I also have to say, like, I mean, I think it's a really tricky thing for a tour. It's a global tour that involves countries that do not actually have the vaccine. Mm-hmm. And so making something that is required when it is impossible for people to get it if you're depending on the country you're in seems really like a short-sighted move to me as a tournament. And so this is why then I say to myself, okay, if you are requiring that these athletes have it, then you have to make sure that you provide it to them as a benefit of being in the tournament, right? And so then how you negotiate for it, Charleston did it, and we're uncomfortable with it, right? Because we're like, you've taken a local count, maybe. And
we know who will not be getting those vaccines.
Yes, exactly. We know politically who most likely those vaccine shots were taken from. Exactly. So we understand that piece. So there's just a lot of different pieces to this. But I feel like we need to break those things apart, right? And I do think that there is this sort of I think we have to really like attack what is happening. There's vaccine hesitancy, which I think with information people are willing to shift. We've seen it. Then there's like complete anti-vax where it's a political thing, and I don't know if you can even go down that road with those folks.
You can't. You really
right? I think
you have to pick your battles.
I usually start by saying, so we're here talking about how quickly this vaccine developed. You mind telling me how quickly other vaccine developed? Since you've been following along and you can speak as to how, how vaccine, what is the normal rate of vaccine development? Can you tell me, sir? Can you tell me what's in your Advil that you pop every day? Could you tell me what's in that Twinkie that you seem to love every day? Since we're since we're into scientific breakdown and information, and then they can't tell me anything, and therefore I say, you see, so what do you have to offer the people? Jesus. You don't be saying Jesus when your diabetes and high blood pressure go up. But we are arguing from a place of we're college educated, and to them we are arguing book sense, etc. Right? And also I do know, particularly in my country back home, there is the issue of people are hesitating to take the vaccine because it feels as though the government is forcing it upon them. And also the government isn't one providing any real information. And as we know, and when Dr. Benton came here, one of the most successful ways to get public health information out is not for it to become on high from the government official on the TV, it's to people, local community workers. Yeah. And that didn't happen because of the pandemic. So people have no way of asking the ridiculous questions or getting any sort of real answers. So therefore, when they say take the vaccine, my response of like, but you've been taking tetanus vaccine, you take your baby to the clinic every single 6 months. I know, I see it. You have the card at home. This should be no different for you as an adult. Get it?
But listen, let's be honest. We're talking about communications, and let's come back full circle. The tournament did not tell them that they were moving it back a week. What is the communication that is happening about vaccine?
Well
you know what I mean? Like,
fair point. Because you would have to think that Roland Garros had to talk to the ITF at the very least, right? They had to send out there to CC everybody else.
But then you're talking about your player communication, right? And I just think that, listen, these people are not exceptions to any rule. Like, just like you've just said, we need folks who are trusted communicators to inform players. Who do players trust? Who are informers of those players?
And how they're moving constantly. Is there a place where they can go get information? They don't read emails. You know what I mean? And they can, and also language is also an issue, right? Yeah, they may be able to communicate in English. But
because think about who's communicated. Let's think about who's done the most communication on the tour on the men's side. Novak Djokovic is the lead, right? He's a leader.
That's scary.
He's a leader. And you got to get him in alignment, right? You've got to get him in alignment.
Last week and a couple of weeks ago, he was talking about being a water bender, right? And
are you being serious right now? Are you just being funny, or he said this?
No, he said that he could move water. But so to the extent that you have to think about,
where have you been?
I've been at hockey, man. I've been at hockey.
Just before the Panini started.
Yes.
This boy was going on about. He had this
moving water and through your emotions. But no, listen. But we understand, we see this, like we see that effective communication or public health information distribution is a big part of this, right? And we already know we can't even get communication about simple things like when the date of a tournament is, which requires the players to show up.
But there has to be some sort of apparatus in existence, right? Because
you got to use it.
No, but there has to be something.
Probably the apparatus for clicking the link.
Right. Right.
But no.
Herein lies the problem.
But there has to be some sort of there is some channel available, because we saw this with Pospisil, right? Yeah. When Pospisil, first of all, Pospisil has no friend, because I don't know who you are to stand up and let some man drag the dog shit out of you, and no one said, sir, don't talk to him like that. You just stood there and cried as a grown man who's like 6'3". You let somebody else talk down to you. But then after that whole fallout and, Pospisil got on court and acted a big fool, he apologized, right? And then soon afterwards, a bazillion dudes had the same crazy messaging system in their tweets and their Instagram and whatever the case may be, saying, Pospisil is a good dude. So I'm simply saying, can someone infiltrate this WhatsApp group? You know what I mean? With some diagrams, because these players don't seem to be hold any kind of complex thoughts in their head. You know what I mean?
The problem is,
I think we can't be that dismissive. I think we really have to be careful about
but
that.
Also there is language. I'm talking about because I mean because at some point, if even with all these issues, right, that we are describing here, the logistics issues that we mentioned, at the end of the day, a pandemic is still going on.
Yep.
And the fact that we are committed, it seems to be because of capitalism, to push tournaments and sporting events on. And in America, several times just recently, baseball had to stop the opening game because of COVID, right? Several people tested positive for COVID, right? And the Olympics has said, guess what? We're not having crowds, right? And whether or not that is
no foreigners.
Me, because
you're not going.
You're not going.
Submitted my reimbursement. I was like, could you reimburse me my ticket then? Thanks.
And here's the other thing too, because this event is happening in Japan, the finals are all going to be in the morning so that we in the Western world can see it at night. So just like in Beijing. So these players going to have no motivation. They're going to wake up looking like, where's the coffee? Oh, it's final.
Listen, but
can you make that an espresso? Can you make that an espresso?
I think clearly.
But I'm just saying. So at the end of the, even if we're gonna make allowances for all of this, this is still problematic, and it can have serious repercussion because these players are literally moving all over the place. They clearly show themselves to be. Because the players are nonetheless
trustworthy. I would rather them all be vaccinated though, because they've demonstrated that they're actually not trustworthy stewards of the local community at all. And so if what we have as any kind of assurance is vaccinations, then I'd rather us figure out a way to do it. That is about
the only thing we can assure, because they are not willing to quarantine. They're not willing to stay in certain places. They want to leave immediately when the tournament is over for them.
So and they want to hug and kiss when they're sweaty.
And you know what's the crazy thing? It's because when this shit started last year, vaccine was the only solution we can come up with. And now this year, everyone's acting brand spanking new. What do you mean it's a vaccine? I don't know. So you want to be in a bubble? Do you want to be in a bubble? Like literally a bubble. I don't know how you're going to get food. I don't know how it's going to get to you to do anything. But, you keep saying you want a hug. You want the crowds. You want all of the good things. You want someone to bring you your towel, but you don't want to do anything. You just want it all to be there. But you know what?
Imagine how many people would be vaccinated if we approached it from an athletic standpoint and said, come to this event. You're going to get to watch your favorite player, your favorite team, your favorite sport. We're going to vaccinate you on your way in. Imagine how many more people would do it. Would people really truly start realizing that there's a possibility that they won't be able to do things that they love without being vaccinated? They'll be more open to being vaccinated. I see it every day. I think so every single day.
I think we haven't connected the dots for people about it. Like I really do too. I think it's like, do you want to return to this thing that you enjoy doing?
Yep.
And the only way that we can do it, because people weren't willing, many people, I'm not saying a lot, but many people were not willing to change their behavior.
Yes.
And so in light of the fact that you can't change your behavior, you won't change your behavior, then vaccination is the other alternative. It's the thing. And then you can make that case. But remember, it's only now that we have a functional government that we actually are on the way to having enough vaccine to even say
a functional federal government, because many state government is just like, do whatever you want to do. Fuck this, man.
Yes. I mean, listen, the federal government can make the vaccines available. How the state goes about distributing it is its own challenge, which is why we're seeing mixed bag. We're seeing differences in Michigan, California, New York, all of those kinds of things. We get that.
And meanwhile, COVID doesn't give a shit. It's mutating. COVID doesn't give a shit about your feelings, about your tournament, about any of your desires. It is doing that thing that the vaccine is doing. It is mutating and mutating to the point where the vaccine could be left behind.
Can I
And
just
that is the
say,
potential problem that we have. That
it would
I
be
just think
interesting. It would be interesting if they had done that, like Janina suggested, though. It would have been interesting if we had not just
Well, we
that
still
about that,
can.
but
I
yeah,
mean,
we still can. It's early days, but even just in terms of tennis, let's go back to tennis and like, but for me, the problem is the lack of a singular message. Like, this is an organization. Like, you're shocked when the Roland Garros moves for a week. You're having mixed signals about when things can happen, how things can, like, who is who runs this
I
thing?
think that we are seeing time and time and time and time again over many years, pandemic or no pandemic, that tennis does not know how the association does not know how to communicate with the players. And the
and the
players
players
are,
don't know how to communicate either. Because if you're going
well,
to form some
but you
sort of
know what?
union,
You
But the
always
onus
you
is on the
always have to
organization.
know your administration should always have an effective way of communicating with your employee, because that's essentially what the relationship is. That's it. And they don't. I mean, we see it in so many different situations. They just are very poor, be it the ATP or the WTA. It
well,
just seems really, really the communication, it's like it doesn't even exist. The system is just really poor because too many times we see, players going, I don't know anything about this. That's just ridiculous. That
to
is
that
ridiculous.
to that point, I think it might be just go back to the logistics because I'm thinking about other sports. And even though you compete internationally, there is a sub organization in which you do it through, right? Whether it's your national federation and
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. But what I find, but to our point is that the ATP, I just can't roll up as Maya suggested and sign up for Miami Challenger and get to the third round. I couldn't do that, right? Because I'm not a member of the ATP. Someone had to have my credential, my name, and whatever the case may be. I just couldn't show up and say, you know what, I play the Black Backyard Classic, let me in. So my name exists somewhere, right? My information exists somewhere within the organization. And it behooves us as to why it is that they can't even just get a letter out that you're not at home to get. You know what I mean? Or like an email, oh, you don't read, or that through your local the Argentinian Federation and the Belarus Federation or something like that. If you're not putting out this information directly to the country, who can then get it to the players, because the USTA know who our players are on tour, right? So at the very least, so the players may get this message in many different ways, right? And they may get the same message multiple times. But really and truly, that it's 2021 and they can't get their shit figured out, and to disastrous consequence is really, really, really crazy.
And I know we're coming to an end, but I want to sort of raise the issue of Benoit Paire. I'm not a Benoit Paire stan.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we need to understand that it's okay for a player to show up at a tournament, lose a match, win a match, and say they're having a horrible time. Like, I don't understand why we don't understand. This is it. I don't understand why we don't understand that they are at work.
Remember
And
when Serena?
Yeah, and no work environment is great right now. No one's work environment is great. All you can do is show up to do your job, and we all show up and do our jobs, and we're not always in the right mood. We're not always excellent form. We're not always smiling. We're not always happy to be there. And just because we watch them do their work doesn't mean it is not labor for them and that they don't have a right to be pissy at work. I mean, I think to myself, I see it. Listen, and he's not necessarily a sympathetic case, but from like a global perspective and pushing back a little bit, I feel like we could be talking about his behavior and that entire thing differently. I think we need to say that their work environment has changed, and some people are adjusting well and some people are not adjusting well, and they then have to marry their mental capacity with their physical capacity to perform well. And I'm tired of someone saying you should just be grateful to play. Like, I hate that narrative. Absolutely hate it, because it's like when people say you should be grateful for having a job even if the work environment sucks. Like, yes, everyone should be grateful for breathing. We all are. Let's start there. But can we also say that some spaces are not optimal?
I mean,
And
that is fair. That is fair. That is a fair criticism, critique, Andrine, and I would support you. But I would just say that it seems to be, let's go back on messaging, that tennis players don't seem to understand that there is a whole ass pandemic going on and people are still dying every day.
But I
They
don't understand. How is
understand.
that separate?
But
How is that separate from
right,
Benoit
right.
saying, I'm here, I'm miserable, I hate this, I don't want to do this anymore? It is his job. He's not going to go do another job. So he's bitching about doing the
he just
job
can't
in a
walk and go
way
home.
that's
Fair
not.
enough, fair enough. You're
Do you know
right,
what
you're
I
right.
mean? Like,
Yes, yes.
that's the part of it I want. It's like,
Because I always hate all my jobs because I
yes,
just have to be at
who
job.
loves their job? But we got to show up because it's how we get paid. Like, there's a part of me that wants people to understand that tennis playing is a job. Like, that's just the part of it I want people to like dial in on. And
Right.
yes, you
gotta talk to the stats. They don't know how to do that in stats though. That's the problem.
I get it.
They can't make that a stat. So
and I get the idea that we should be, everyone should be smiling, but there's a part of it that's shifting for me. And as people of color in workspaces, when people tell you to smile and people to be there, what the narrative is like. And I'm starting to chafe a little bit at that.
And they're also trying to treat you like shit.
You know what I mean? Like
they're not trying to make the necessary adjustment because I think to a certain extent, and this is where I think going forward, I think again, player advocacy, they're very poor at messaging, is that they're gonna have to come to some sort of like, if we're gonna operate in a pandemic, they're gonna have to either make certain baseline, this is what is required, and they need to understand this is how it's going to be. But apparently, I think what is also to the players point, that they are told certain things and then they get there and then the shit just gone change and go sideways.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, and that has happened a lot in many places.
I want to say to Benoit, don't show up. And people are like, he has the ability to show up. But I don't know what his financials are. I mean, like, I legit
he likes to party. He needs that money.
I mean? And also, and the other thing too, for French players, they're locked down in France. So Benoit ain't want to be at home being depressed. He could be out in Mexico having fun for 2 days more than he'll be able to have
on the beach.
So,
I just think we should. I feel like the narrative around that needs to be better, and maybe it's because he's such a poor figure for it, because he throws temper tantrums.
It can't be
him, and I get it, but also it can't be him because he's likely to talk about it. Like,
right,
like,
exactly. And the others are not likely to talk about it. Lack of personality, I keep saying. ATP.
I'm not gonna talk about, but you know what? To be honest, I think that's what Team was experiencing. Like, Team had to take entire time off. He was in a really dark place. So it's like, I think a lot
of those Roland Garros runs catching up to that body. The body always wins.
Exactly. But let's be honest. And aren't we all in a dark place? Aren't we all working more? We're working more and getting less out of it. And then we're not getting that thing that we usually get when we work, which is we get to hang out with people, we get to socialize with our families, we get to be with our friends, and that makes work more palatable.
We can be spontaneous after work, go to the movies.
Yeah, like
that.
None of those other things are happening.
Go home.
Go home.
You just go home. If you even get to go to work.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
many of us are working at home.
Yeah, and so I think to both of your point earlier, it's like, if you're going to operate sport in a pandemic, can we change the expectations? Like, of what we expect from players and how we want players to navigate that, and how we should be, and how the tournament should be treating players. Like, why are they like?
But I don't want to. Janina is looking all antsy. Today's one of the first time we recorded the podcast where we can all look at each other. Usually we do it in dark.
Yeah, I always get antsy at about this time.
And we're right on time.
But I just want to point out that for the players, I think it's really, not only it's really the mental bit for them, but it's you have to consider that our expectation why people wanted sports was to save us from our darkness.
Yes.
Right? And yet, how dare these clowns?
So you don't get to be sad. You're not actually living through this pandemic. You are here to entertain me.
And
and that's true. That's what we want. We want entertainment. I mean, fuck, I've had hockey tickets that I got for free. So it's been canceled twice because of COVID.
And you were mad every time.
I'm mad.
And it's par for the course, right? Because that's why everyone hated Colin Kaepernick. Why are you distracting me on a Sunday when I know the BS is coming on Monday? I'm here just to veg out on my couch.
Exactly.
God damn, shut up and dribble.
Yep.
I mean, it's true, right?
We're
But
so,
see,
you know why? Because we're selfish human beings.
Oh, we're
Period.
horrible.
You
We're
don't
horrible.
want,
We're
we're
horrible.
horrible. We don't want to hear about anybody else's pain and suffering. You better damn well listen to mine, but I don't want to hear about yours. Nope.
Well, you know what?
when
Then
I
we
was a
should have
teenager-
kept to the idea that sports is a reward for a functional society, and we're
Right.
not functioning, so we shouldn't be having
But
sports.
here's the thing. We have not been. First of all, we were never in a functioning society in which these sports were operating on. Sports has
Anyway.
always operated atypical to what's going on in the world, right? Just not happening.
This time around, I'm feeling it, Reels. Now I understand how unfunctional this whole thing has been, and I am not with it. I refuse.
It's, and like I said, people are out here demanding real things from these players. And Benoit, you better shut up.
People are demanding us caring about records. People are demanding us caring about all kinds of things. And I was like,
I don't give a
stats
fuck.
people. It's the stats people. It's the stats people. The status. Statisticians.
It is so true. I see somebody put something on my timeline, and I was like, listen, I'm not going to take any record seriously in 2019.
None.
Beyond.
You can't.
Beyond 20, I hate to say it, 2011, people, guess what? The new year is 2019. Anything that happened in 2019, all the way up until we have a fully functional tour again, is an aberration. And I hate to say that. It just is in my mind.
They get 10 asterisks.
It's like, it's not real. Like, and I hate that.
No, it's not.
It really isn't. Like, it is like, who's participating here? Like, what are the
This is going to be
like for example,
this is going to be like war times in Olympics when countries didn't participate.
Yeah.
They're going to be like,
actually,
so and so
show up. Actually, the Olympics was canceled.
There was that too, but we've had times where countries didn't participate,
there
right?
was a boycott.
So, okay, but
am I supposed to take Hubbard Tukash winning Miami the same as
no,
Andre Agassi winning Miami?
No, no, that's just it. It's gonna be like this was COVID. They won.
We haven't even supposed to do. We're supposed to pretend that when masters were 5-setters as the same as when masters were 3-setters. Like,
right.
We have not done any of the reading, and we keep like altering these things, and we're like, oh no, the numbers matters. It's only the numbers, honey. People used to play 5 sets for masters tournament
on clay.
God,
And then you did that and had to roll up the next day to go play Rome.
And you want me to take those counts seriously? This is what I mean when you I think you're right. It's like the quantification of everything now means that we're supposed to take everything out of context. And I'm like, listen, 2019 is a different context. And any of those number counts that you're trying to tell me that I should care about, it can't.
I don't want. This doesn't take anything from Ash Barty or anything.
Oh, not at all.
She's the real number one.
Yes,
honey. They didn't have real tennis last year. Like, it just wasn't there. She couldn't even be there. Like, it wasn't like no one's blaming her. But you have to put an asterisk next to this thing because guess what? She couldn't come out of Australia. Just couldn't. She just couldn't come out of Australia. Like,
I don't get it. It's weird.
I don't know. Like, I'm telling you. Pretty soon, someone's going to say the pandemic wasn't real.
Listen, I'm waiting for the time when we pretend these last 2 years didn't happen.
Exactly. It's going to be a thing. They're going to say it's the rapture. I bet you they're going to say it's the rapture. Watch and see.
Oh, but Janita already started us off by saying Dominique Thiem's slam was... Bless his heart. I mean, it is what it is.
I mean, because that final was unreal anyway, right? Like, for God's sake, that was real. That someone's gonna take that seriously. Whew. Thank God no one paid to see that.
And you know what? For the people who are still playing consistently,
yeah,
shame on you. Do better. This is is your opportunity to shine, and you are fucking it up. Like, Roger Federer has played tennis one time in a year, and he's still in the top 10. Y'all got to do better.
It's not
Girl,
going to do
stop
that.
that. Stop that.
It's going to
You
change.
won't have these
The
statistician on our ass.
the ranks are about to flip, because that was a frozen period, and now it's flipping into real numbers, because now Sasha finally got his ranking points.
I mean, it's
not going to happen.
We are trying to demand effective communication, and when the ATP did something right and effectively communicated how this shit won't work, they still didn't give a fuck.
Didn't get it.
People still didn't get it.
Not a clue. Not a damn clue.
How are you going to disseminate hard science? How are you going to disseminate hard science?
You can't even disseminate your scoring system
and
your point system.
You were accepted all the gravy last year, but all of a sudden you don't get the big piece of chicken this time around. You mad and you want to go back, and but it's like, boo, you have been eating out of this same pot all year. If you weren't mad last year, you can't be mad today. And here's the thing, boo, why are you fighting? You don't even show up to tournaments. I don't even know. Maybe there is points and money to get it. I don't know. Maybe they get extra money or something.
Lots of obligations and lots of expectations about, like, in your sponsorship agreements.
And Federer is a grandfather, so he don't got obligated to do shit.
He ain't got to do any of that.
Yeah, he doesn't even have to. He could not show up at a tournament. They don't have to give a real excuse.
No,
they have to pay. They have to pay these masters. Ooh, it's good to be a Leah.
Listen, Grandma and Grandpa is leaving this year. Listen, enjoy the Gramps. These grandmas and grandpas ain't gonna be here for long. Okay.
No, I will. I think I've said it before, but I feel like we're gonna see a slew of retirements after this Olympics. I think I said that after the last Olympics too, but this time I mean it.
Well, listen,
you gotta be right sometime. You gotta be right at one point. You gotta be right.
But I want to see who's gonna show up for this Olympics with nobody there. I want to see who's getting on a
tennis
flight.
should be all right. They should be used to it.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. I show up for these damn matches.
I don't even think we can even show up there anyway, because that's not going to be happening in Tokyo, because the people in Japan are just like, fuck this shit. Because
that's the thing. Everyone's been mentioning
Western
the Olympics.
world has taken all the vaccine.
Well, yes, but now they're starting. But I was just thinking to myself, who is going to actually show up just to perform for us without a crowd? I'm curious to see who that is.
And the Olympics is not just the American national championships, right? People from Africa, people from all over the places where you don't give them the vaccine, they need to be there too.
Well, we're gonna distribute the vaccines, Real. We're gonna have
at the Olympics.
I would assume you would have
prior. I would hope.
No,
why would you?
Hopefully prior, because I mean, if you don't have any side effects, I mean, like, Janina, maybe that's why they're not giving it at the stadium, because in that 15 minutes waiting period, nobody wants to be far long in the crowd. Those steep, those nosebleed seats.
Shit.
You want to see Janet bumbling down till she took the COVID vaccine.
Oh my God! You know what? Cut it out.
And plus, grown men don't want to be crying over needles in front of everybody when they come for like, yeah, it's a football game, and it's like, oh my
God. Well, we're back to business as usual, y'all. So this was our attempt to re-engage, pretend that we've been watching and caring about tennis.
I'm so sick and tired of writing. We're back.
No, we're gonna be back.
We're not gonna be back. We're just gonna say pandemic tennis season. It's the pandemic tennis season.
This season has an asterisk.
It's podcasting during a pandemic, people. You get what you get, okay?
You get what you get, and you don't make a fit.
Just like how you treat the players, you should be grateful that you're out here. You should be grateful you're getting an episode from
That's
us.
right.
Okay.
You'll get another one in another 3 months, damn it.
Janina, you better edit in for this one. And Janina, and people, any delays in podcasts, you just blame Janina.
All right. So one thing we wanted to let you know, though, is we do still know that we owe you some sizzle.
Yeah.
We owe you some sizzle. We owe you some sizzle on the men's side, and we owe you some sizzle on the women's side.
But I mean, unfortunately, the criteria can't be money, because after that Miami tournament, everybody is broke. Everyone is a bitch on a budget.
Listen, James Blake did as best as he could. Okay, James did as best as he could, and he ended up He ended up with 2 fantastic champions.
And no one got COVID as far as we're aware of in Miami. And I mean, that deserved the Nobel Peace Prize. That alone.
No. They're just keeping that shit locked up.
I believe you. I know it's true. Somebody got it.
So we will try. We will aim. There's going to be a slam coming up at some point. I guess it's Roland
I'm
Garros.
aware.
Roland
Garros will let us know. The Roland Garros will let us know the day before the tournament. Guess what? The French Open is tomorrow. Okay.
So take us out, Reels. Take us out.
Well, I don't have any song because they'll usually come when we have a live episode. So I'm not gonna sing. It's a pandemic. People shouldn't have to suffer. More needlessly.
Are we gonna promise our fans?
But it's happy to see your lovely faces as we discuss what we love discussing tennis. And I think we hit all of the points we had to say. And also Federer broke the internet. When Federer came back, he broke the internet. So just, as always.
That's right.
Federer's just the Federer.
I'm taking my cues from Federer. When Federer returns full time, I'll return full time. Is that okay?
Hey man, I like that. I can get on board with that.
I'm telling you, Merca got Federer by Merca has Federer held home my hostage. Be like, bitch, don't leave this house.
Okay.
You be fucking around with Benoit. You're gonna bring back COVID here, okay? Like, no, please. You're gonna stay here.
We'll have a moment of silence for Monfils marrying Svitolina. He put a ring on it. It's not the right ring.
Now, I'll see you in 6 months when that ring will be off that finger.
No, I will not put anything out there like that. I wish them the best. I say chocolate's better, but
I just read something today I think should applicable. They said history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And history shows me that, gem life always shines and then go out. So it's like a light bulb.
We do not cast aspersions on love. So if that is where he wants to go get love that place.
I just want cake. Just want cake. And here again, ladies and gentlemen, Andrine is doing a cut, a chop. She's doing a chop. And Janina is rubbing it in Andrine's face, that ring.
It's a nice ring. And you know what? That's a nice ring that would look much better on darker skin. I'm just saying. But
she don't got the right skin tone for that.
Yes, beggars can't be choosers. No. I wish them both the best. Of course, all
that tiny hand can carry that big ring.
Love. You all know I'm like a forever Monfils fan. I hope nothing but the best for him. He was so sad at the Australian
Open. Love brings him a slam.
I mean, fatherhood certainly brings lots of things. So love should too. Exactly. That's the only reason why we celebrate anything that happens with men is if it only allows them to win. So, but joy and love. What is it? It's next year, they said. So hopefully they'll be able to have a crowd. I wish them the best.
I mean, they're French. They don't give a shit. So
I know.
There will be a crowd there anyway.
I know. Also, congratulations to Taylor Townsend on her lovely entry into motherhood. Good for her. I'm hoping that she doesn't decide to stay away from the tour. Come back after you've had some time.
I love your tennis.
We love your tennis. And any other people we need to congrats? Novak Djokovic.
Just me.
Congratulations for I guess being the number one thing.
I mean, Murray got like 5 babies now. Murray is having
Murray
had secret babies during COVID.
There's no secret babies.
It's just a baby, Janina. He's been, I mean, his hip. Oh. I mean, hey.
Yes. Murray.
You're not playing on that court. You got to play someplace else.
Listen, all I have to remind you all is that there was a period in time when Andy Murray's girlfriend worried about Andy Murray's willingness to only play video games and not go out and socialize and go to theaters and go to museums. So I suspect that she's just grateful that he's there giving her babies. So all good on that.
I may be right about now. She wished for those good old days.
Good for them though. I love it. They're almost ready for a basketball team. Is that what it is? 6?
Yeah. Well, a doubles.
A doubles.
The Federer brood.
This was baby number 4, guys.
I know. I'm telling
you, doubles teams.
I'm telling you, the Federers and the Murrays gonna take over the tours. I'm telling you,
I'll get on board with that.
And congratulations to Janina for something. Janina says we should congratulate her. What do we congratulate?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still living and I haven't gotten COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
E for effort, Janina. E for effort.
E for effort. I'm hoping that we'll be able to have a Cincy reunion if all goes well. I don't really
listen. I don't know, but it'll be fun in an Olympic year. We had lots of fun last time it was the Olympics.
That was so great. Can we have a tradition of that again? Oh,
yeah, let's do it.
Where will Cincy be? In Portland, Oregon?
Probably.
I mean, where in the world is Cincinnati tournament?
No, can I tell you what I'm holding out for in my secret wish? I keep tracking it. I want them to put Indian Wells in the fall somewhere and have the players come out. It's a great site. And then maybe we might even be able to have more people come out. It's a good site.
Is Laver Cup happening this year?
It is supposed to. I think what they're going to do, this is what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to do the thing that you all have been saying they're going to do, which is you're going to have to provide proof of vaccination.
For Laver Cup?
And guess what? So there will be no Team World this year. Wonderful.
Wonderful. No. You know what? I absolutely don't know. I will say that I bet
you with that $250,000 just for participation point, you would see them it'll be on their Instagram.
This is what I tell you. With the right incentives, people will take shots. I tell you that. Janina knows it. And so if the Laver Cup has an incentive structure that will reward it. But you know what? I don't know. It is the fall. September, universities want to bring students back on campus in September. So I think September is a new game. I don't know what it's going to look like. I'm not sure.
Well, some universities have made it mandatory.
Exactly.
They'll all be mandatory by
at some point. The US
They're the only people that can get away with it, truly, that no one questions it.
Yeah, and the US Open, so I mean, I think the summer is an interesting one because I think the United States is on track to have vaccinations available. How it gets distributed and how that plays out for the summer is
globally. So one summer, United States alone in the world would be vaccinated. Everyone else would still be dealing with COVID, but they were trying to come here for the US Open anyway. And America will still take your money. That's how. They would still take your money and sell you a ticket. So.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, folks.
Take care, all.
Ciao, ciao.